Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by Elliot Grigg and Gregory Doyle. Chaps, this is the final prediction shows ahead of tomorrow night's big fight, Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helenius. We've had obviously a failed drugs test in the build up to this fight, the press conference, the weigh-in, plenty of back and forth in WhatsApp groups, and the rest. So interested to get some final predictions here. Obviously there is a strong favourite here. We've had Robert Helenius come drafted in all the way from Finland. But yeah, looking for some precise predictions and how we're going to break this fight down and what's gonna happen tonight or tomorrow night, depending on when you're watching this video. Who am I going to go to first? Elliot, I'm going to go to you first. What's going to happen tomorrow night, mate? I want to know how you think. Is it going to be kind of a repeat of the Franklin fight when kind of not much happened for 12 rounds? Is the old Joshua going to come back from 8-9 years ago? I'm sure you're confident about that happening, or or are we going to see something in between? Give us your prediction ahead of tomorrow night.
My prediction is, before I go straight into it, my prediction is an AJ stoppage. The reasons for that, although to be perfectly honest with you, I would love to see Helenius drag it 12 rounds and make it really ugly and just kind of make it. I think that'd be great spectacle for me anyway, at least. But looking at a guy that doesn't obviously necessarily have the power, I think, to really trouble Joshua. I mean, and the opponents he's faced haven't necessarily been on that level. So I kind of see it being fairly straightforward for Joshua. But I do see Joshua fighting cagey early. I don't think he'll just come out and try and blast him. I really don't. In some ways, I wonder whether he'll kind of do what I predicted it would happen against Dillian Whyte, where he'd sort of go quite cagey for sort of first 4 or 5 rounds, 3 to 5 rounds, and then sort of step on him a little bit. And that's what I think will probably happen here. I mean, Helenius fought last week as well, so I don't know what sort of condition he's going to be in either. But yeah, I see a Joshua stoppage somewhere sort of 6, 7, somewhere like that.
Round 6.
But I don't think it's going to cut. The old Joshua will not be coming back. No, in my mind, it will just be more the case of the fact that there's a golfing class between him and the opponent, and therefore he will be stopping him based on that.
Yeah, we shall see. And Helenius, 39 years old now, record of 32-4. This could be his final fight. Who knows? But it's a big opportunity for him. Greg, what's your response to Elliot's prediction? Would you agree that it's going to be a cagey start from Joshua and then he'll get to him in the middle rounds? What are your thoughts on what's going to happen tomorrow night?
Yeah, thanks, Elliot. And Elliot, I enjoyed listening to Mr. Gregg's comments there. I don't think I'm going to be a million miles off him. I think Joshua's under a lot of pressure tomorrow, guys, to get this job done. Real boxing fans know how hard a puncher Deontay Wilder is, and I don't read too much into that first round stoppage, purely because if Wilder hits anyone early and quick and they're not warmed up, they're probably going to go. It doesn't matter who they are. But I think Joshua will feel the pressure tomorrow night to kind of make a statement against Helenius, but I'm not sure if it will be that early. It could be, but to answer your question, Elliot, I think it'll be anywhere between maybe 3 to 6. I think you might get Helenius out of there, and I think it'll be down to the Deontay Wilder victory. I think he'll feel a pressure that he needs to get him out of there. And Helenius is 39 now, so he's no spring chicken.
Yeah. I think, look, we're speaking kind of similar hymn sheets here. I think one point this is my opinion. I am seeing some people say Joshua within 3, and I really struggle to see that. If you look at the way he fought against Franklin, I don't think he's going to stop Helenius inside 3 rounds or inside 4 rounds. Personally, I just think that it's hard to go from such a different performance that we saw back in April against Helenius, who look, is he a better fighter than Jermaine Franklin? Arguably. I think we can that's a debate for another video, but I don't think it would be a million miles off to say he is a better fighter than Franklin. When I was preparing for this call, obviously, had a cheeky look on BoxRec, and I just can't help but look at Joshua's recent fights. Obviously, he had points win against Jermaine Franklin, 2 losses against Usyk on points, win against Pulev in the 9th round, and then the fights against Andy Ruiz Jr., one of which was a win, but ended in a points win. I think, in my mind, it's so important to remember the last time Joshua finished someone early in a fight was Eric Molina, and that was 7 years ago. And that's why I'm struggling to see Joshua inside the first 3, inside the first 4 rounds. In terms of my prediction, I think rounds 5 to 8, and I'd probably go, if I'm being honest, identical to Elliot Grigg. Rounds 7 and 8 is when I kind of see Helenius maybe slowing down and Joshua coming on good. So that's what I'm going for, but I just really hope we see a stoppage tomorrow. The idea of
Elliot, I would totally agree. Sorry, I would totally agree with you. I'm with you guys. I'm just coming from a place where I think Joshua might feel under pressure because of what Helenius done to Wilder. It did enter my thought space, and I'm sure you guys both looked at it before we come on the call. When was the last time Joshua stopped someone early? You make a fantastic point. But I just think you might feel that pressure from Wilder, but that goes one of two ways. But you know what? I really respect what you guys saying. I think that you guys won't be far off at all.
Yeah. No, we'll see. Look, it's. I think these are just predictions. At the end of the day, it's just like it's one thing. When you've seen everything, and there's obviously nothing left to discuss, but it's there's just kind of, we've seen, like, obviously the Dillian Whyte fight being cancelled, and then there being that scrounge around for an opponent. I think that was announced on Tuesday morning. So we'll see. Elliot, I'll leave things with you. Just like, what your thoughts on where Joshua is right now? I know that Greg, you did the weigh-in reaction video earlier. But Elliot, I know you've been a critic of Joshua. It's fair to say. And your thoughts on where he's at in his career and what's left.
Thank you very much. I think to be perfectly honest, I have been semi-critical of Joshua, not necessarily as a person as such, but more the hype that I feel was around Joshua, which I didn't necessarily think he deserved. And like you said, around the last stoppage earlier that he got against Molina, like, Joshua's very good at stopping a certain kind of fighter. You said that before, like a certain level. And to be honest, Helenius is on that level of fighter where you'd expect him to stop him. But it's this sense of, like, I almost feel like he's in some ways flattered by the KO percentage that he has. And I agree with Greg, to be perfectly honest with you, when Greg's saying about pressure. I feel like that's in many ways what we saw at the weigh-in today. I mean, it was kind of a bizarre scene for me. I didn't. A lot of people I saw, reacting to it, saying that the old AJ's back, the X Factor's back. I didn't see that, to be honest with you. What I saw was someone essentially who looked quite disinterested at parts, quite like sort of distant, and then all of a sudden just tried to like stick it on someone from a sort of bullying perspective who you're going to beat and you're expected to beat. And to me, it was quite a sad and actually pathetic display. So, what I want to see is him do that against someone live. I want to see him do, like, Helenius is not in the top 15 of any of the governing bodies, mate. It's not like an opponent you expect to really do any damage, and he's only there to basically essentially give that event, fulfill that obligation, and then move Joshua on to Wilder. He's not there to do anything damaging. That's why he's been chosen. So to stick it on someone like that, to me, isn't really like an alpha move or the return of the old AJ. I'd like to see him do that against someone live, frankly. So at this stage of his career, I see personally, I know you guys might disagree with this, but I see a man who's kind of pressured, A, by his television deal and his own contract, B, by a kind of, I suppose, like, lingering sense that he feels like he may be able to get a title again if he hangs around long enough potentially and gets another opportunity, and if Usyk maybe moves on, the belt's fracture, whatever, kind of trying to climb that. But equally, I actually feel like he doesn't necessarily have that belief in himself, and then whether it's comfort or it's the fact that he's like at the stage of his career where he doesn't need this anymore. But I almost feel like he's over it. And to be honest with you, I'd like to see him. I wouldn't mind seeing him retire. I wouldn't genuinely. That's quite an extreme thing to say, but I genuinely, if I was him, like, I don't see winning a world title again. I don't see you beating Wilder again, frankly. Like Greg was saying, like, Wilder touches you once, he's going to go. We've seen AJ get touched by lesser punches than Wilder and go. So I don't see him fighting Fury, and I don't see him beating Usyk either. So for me, he's kind of done what he needs to have done. Maybe just kind of like the Whyte fight would have been decent because enough casual fans appreciate Dillian Whyte and think that'd be a good victory. But apart from that, I genuinely think he should be looking for an exit strategy personally, because I do think he's wrestling demons in a weird way, and I think that kind of what you sort of represented a bit of the way. It just doesn't look the same Joshua that we've seen many times before.
Okay, so we're really looking forward to the fight tomorrow, and gonna see what happens in the review show. Elliot, no, appreciate that. I think don't necessarily disagree with you, but at the same time want to see what happens tomorrow night, see if your opinions change and you get back on the AJ bandwagon, or maybe not so much, but we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Greg, Elliot, thank you very much for your time. We will see what happens tomorrow night between Anthony Joshua and Robert Helenius. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for watching.